I want you to just imagine something for a second. You were sitting on your couch, you have your phone in your hand,
Right.
but instead of staring at crypto charts for hours on end, zooming in and out, trying to read the tea leaves like some fortune teller.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. But instead of that, you just tap a single button. You speak into your AI assistant and say, execute a grid strategy on DOGE between 0.14 and 0.18, monitor smart money movements on the Binance Smart Chain, and alert me immediately if there's any risk.
Just like that.
Yeah. And then you just put the phone down.
Yep.
The AI handles it, like start to finish.
It sounds like a pitch from a science fiction movie just a few years ago.
Oh, totally.
But that scenario is exactly the reality we are looking at right now.
And that is the topic of our deep dive today. We are looking at this massive fundamental shift happening right now in 2026. AI is no longer just this advisory tool where you ask for a definition or a basic market trend.
Right. It's not just answering questions anymore.
No, it is morphed into a fully autonomous trading agent. And to understand this, we're pulling from a really comprehensive 2026 analysis report. It synthesizes internal adoption data from Binance, some really rigorous academic reviews from institutions like the National Bureau of Economic Research, or NBER.
The NBER stuff is fascinating, yeah.
It really is, and it pairs all that with very practical market commentary.
And, the report paints a picture of a market undergoing a complete behavioral revolution. We are seeing a total overhaul in how humans interact with digital assets.
So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out what exactly is driving this explosive adoption. We really need to dissect whether handing the keys over to an AI is a genuine mathematically proven advantage or if it is just, a highly disguised risk just waiting to wipe out your portfolio.
Yeah, a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. And most importantly, we want to give you, the listener, the concrete tools to decide if you should actually integrate AI into your own trading strategy without falling victim to blind FOMO.
Because the fear of missing out is very real, especially when the numbers are this staggering. The headline data point from this report proves that this isn't just hype.
Right.
Nearly 60% of Binance AI Pro users are no longer asking the AI for information. They are actively automating entire trading flows.
Okay, let's unpack this because that number is huge, but we do need to be precise here.
Sure.
This isn't 60% of all Binance users.
Right.
Binance has tens of millions of users globally.
Right.
This is 60% of the users who have adopted the Binance AI Pro tool specifically.
That's an important distinction.
But even with that caveat, the fact that the majority of people who touch this tool immediately stop using it as a search engine and start using it as an executioner, that represents a massive behavioral pivot.
Oh, absolutely. And to understand why they're making that jump from consultation to operation, we really have to look under the hood at how Binance AI Pro actually works.
Yeah, let's get into the tech.
Because when you hear AI, you probably picture like a single chatbot, a single brain processing your request. It's this one interface, yeah.
Right. But this is a multi-model system. It incorporates Claude, GPT, Quinn, and others, all working together in an ensemble.
And the magic trick here is something the report calls intelligent routing.
Yeah, that's the core mechanism. The system has these modular skills built in. So like a module for spot trading, one for derivatives, one for wallet analysis, another for risk detection.
So it's highly specialized.
Very. When you give it a complex command, it doesn't just hand the whole paragraph to one generic model. The intelligent router parses your prompt for specific keywords and context. If it detects language requiring deep logical reasoning to, say, structure a derivative trade, it matches those parameters against the mathematical training weights of its submodels and routes that specific piece of the task to the model best suited for logic.
So if another part of your command requires parsing through a massive amount of historical wallet data instantly, the router sends that specific chunk to the model optimized for data processing.
Right.
It acts like a dispatcher. That's a great way to put it. And the internal tests on this are fascinating. Because it's routing tasks to specialized models, this intelligent routing results in a 60% better task completion rate compared to using just one generic model.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah, and the execution flows are shorter. Plus, it actually consumes fewer tokens, meaning it's far more computationally efficient. It can complete these complex tasks end-to-end without getting confused or, hallucinating midway.
The source material has an analogy that I think perfectly captures what this actually feels like.
Oh, the WhatsApp one.
Yes. It says this shift is like firing a financial advisor who just sends you hot tips on WhatsApp and replacing them with a robot partner who takes the blueprint and flawlessly executes it on the exchange while you are sleeping.
And why this matters is that it represents a behavioral convergence toward automation that we've really never seen at this scale before.
No, never.
For decades, sophisticated, high-frequency, multivariable trading strategies were locked behind the doors of Wall Street firms.
You needed a team of quants.
You needed an army of them, yeah.
Now, this multi-model routing system makes those exact same sophisticated strategies accessible to retail traders.
So we have a system that is incredibly efficient at executing commands. But efficiency doesn't automatically equal profitability.
Definitely not.
Right, because executing a bad trade 60% faster just means you lose money faster.
Exactly.
So we really have to look at the academic data to see if the AI's logic is actually beating human intuition. Basically, does the robot make better trades?
Well, looking at the rigorous academic evidence compiled in the report, the answer is a resounding yes, but with a lot of asterisks attached.
Okay, let's hear the asterisk.
Well, first, the good news. The systematic reviews show that advanced neural networks, specifically architectures like LSTM, GRU, and CNN, alongside reinforcement learning, they consistently outperform traditional price prediction methods.
Let's break those acronyms down into plain English so we don't lose anyone here. Traditional price prediction is usually statistical. It relies on moving averages, standard deviations, assumptions of normal distributions.
Right, all the standard chart stuff.
But crypto doesn't behave nicely. A perfectly modeled standard deviation doesn't account for a sudden late-night tweet from a regulator that instantly crashes a token's price.
Crypto is complete chaos.
It is. So
Yeah.
why do these specific neural networks like LSTM handle that chaos better?
Because they approach the data fundamentally differently. So LSTM stands for long short-term memory. Traditional statistical models often just look at a snapshot of data, but an LSTM network is specifically designed for time series data. It literally retains a memory of past sequences, allowing it to understand context over time.
So it remembers the sequence of events.
Right. It can look at a price spike today and remember how a structurally similar sequence played out under similar market conditions, say, 3 months ago. And GRU is simply a streamlined, faster version of that same memory-based architecture.
And then there are CNNs, convolutional neural networks. I usually hear about those in the context of image generation or facial recognition. How does an image processor trade crypto?
It visualizes the market.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Instead of just reading a spreadsheet of prices, a CNN can essentially look at a trading chart and identify complex visual geometries and patterns in the data that a human eye would just miss entirely.
That is wild. Then you throw reinforcement learning into the mix. This is where the AI is training itself through trial and error in a simulated environment, right?
Exactly. It gets mathematically rewarded for profitable simulated trades and punished for simulated losses. It runs these scenarios millions of times over before it ever touches your real money.
Because crypto markets are so highly volatile and nonlinear, the neural networks adapt to the chaotic nature of the market much better than a fixed mathematical formula ever could.
Precisely.
Which brings me to the jaw-dropping statistic in this report. There's a specific study analyzing AI strategies in Bitcoin from 2018 to 2024, and it reported returns of up to 1,640% compared to a simple buy-and-hold strategy.
It is a staggering number.
Here's where it gets really interesting, but also a bit suspicious. 1,640%. Whenever I hear a number like that in crypto, my internal alarm bells start ringing. If you train an AI on exactly what happened from 2018 to 2024, of course it's going to find the perfect trades in hindsight. But does that backward-looking perfection actually apply to the unknown future?
What's fascinating here is that you've just intuitively identified one of the biggest technical flaws in machine learning. It's a concept called overfitting.
Overfitting.
Yeah.
Okay, explain how that works in practice.
Imagine you are studying for a math test, and your teacher gives you a practice exam. If you study by simply memorizing the exact answers to the practice questions, like saying question 1 is B, question 2 is C, you will score 100% on the practice test.
Right, because you just memorized the key.
Exactly. But when you sit down for the real exam, the teacher changes the numbers slightly. If you only memorize the specific answers instead of learning the underlying mathematical formulas, you will fail spectacularly.
So the AI is memorizing the practice test. It's tailoring its strategy so perfectly to the specific historical noise of 2018 to 2024 that the moment the market conditions naturally shift in 2026, the strategy completely falls apart.
The model becomes too perfectly tailored to past anomalies rather than the actual underlying signal. So while that 1,640% number proves the phenomenal potential of AI pattern recognition, it is also a massive warning sign.
So past performance really doesn't mean anything here.
Past performance in a highly overfitted model guarantees absolutely nothing about the future.
That overfitting flaw leads perfectly into the broader reality we have to face, which is that software is fragile. Relying entirely on a machine introduces a whole new spectrum of technical, human, and systemic risks that humans are just deeply unprepared for.
We really are.
Let's start with the technical side. Even if your model isn't overfitted, it's still subject to the mechanics of the internet.
Definitely. When you rely on an economist agent, you have to contend with AI hallucinations, where the multi-model system confidently executes a logic path that is completely false.
Oh yeah.
You are also entirely dependent on API connections. An API is the bridge of how the AI talks to the exchange. If the exchange updates its API protocol and your AI isn't instantly updated to match, your trades fail, or worse, they get stuck in a continuous error loop.
And we can't ignore the hidden costs either. If an AI is optimizing for microprofits, trading back and forth hundreds of times an hour, it might be generating a gross profit on paper.
On paper, yeah.
But the transaction fees, the gas fees on the blockchain, will silently bleed your account dry. It's like leaving a faucet dripping. Individually, the drops seem harmless, but over a month, it completely floods your water bill.
The micromechanics are dangerous, but the macro market risks are even more concerning. The report brings in studies from the NBER pointing to the dangers of algorithmic collusion.
Let's explore the mechanism there. How does an AI collude? They aren't meeting in a back room smoking cigars and fixing prices.
No, they don't need to communicate to collude. Algorithmic collusion happens because thousands of different AI agents are all looking at the exact same historical blockchain data, and they are all optimizing for the exact same metric: maximum profit with minimum risk.
Okay.
Because the math is the same, thousands of independent algorithms inevitably calculate the exact same optimal trade at the exact same millisecond.
Wow.
They accidentally form a cartel, and when they all move in the exact same direction simultaneously, you get massive AI-driven market bubbles.
And I'm guessing the reverse of that is the flash crash?
Exactly.
If a piece of macroeconomic news hits and one major algorithm calculates that it's time to dump an asset to minimize risk, the other algorithms instantly detect that sell pressure on the order books.
Yep, they see it immediately.
Their logic tells them to sell too. It creates a cascading avalanche where an asset loses 40% of its value in 3 seconds, entirely driven by machines reacting to the math of other machines.
It creates a highly fragile ecosystem where human fundamentals basically no longer dictate price action.
This next risk from the report is arguably the most insidious because it is entirely psychological. The researchers call it the autopilot effect.
This is a huge one.
Yeah, this happens when a trader develops so much overconfidence in the AI that they completely neglect their own risk management. They assume the machine is infinitely smarter than they are, so they stop checking the trading logs, they stop setting manual stop losses.
It is the psychological offloading of responsibility.
It's a bit like buying a self-driving car. Just because the car has advanced sensors and can steer itself down the highway doesn't mean you can climb into the back seat and take a nap.
Right, you can't just check out.
You still have to be sitting behind the wheel, watching the road, ready to grab the steering column if the software suddenly misinterprets a shadow on the road as a brick wall. But right now, people are literally taking a nap in the back seat of their financial portfolios.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this autopilot effect creates a profound regional and socioeconomic risk. The report specifically highlights the challenges for users in regions like Latin America.
Let's dig into that. Why is the risk compounded specifically for a user in a LATAM compared to someone sitting in New York?
It comes down to the intersection of macroeconomics and machine optimization. In regions with severe currency volatility, crypto isn't just a speculative hobby.
Right.
For many, it is a necessary hedge against hyperinflation. But when you turn on an AI autopilot in that environment, the danger multiplies. The AI might perfectly execute a trade that secures a 5% gain in the crypto asset.
That sounds great.
Right, but if you are asleep at the wheel and not monitoring the broader economy, your local fiat currency might devalue by 10% in that same window. By the time you cash out, your AI-optimized profit is actually a net loss in purchasing power.
Wow. So you have people desperately trying to protect their wealth using incredibly complex multi-model AI tools they might not fully understand while the economic ground beneath them is shifting. That disconnect between AI optimization and real-world purchasing power is a massive trap.
It really is.
The report notes that Binance uses its AI to block billions of dollars in fraud, which is fantastic infrastructure. But the ultimate responsibility still lies with the user. You have to manage your own API keys. You have to understand custody. The AI cannot protect you if you accidentally hand your master password over to a phishing scam.
The proliferation of these tools risks concentrating power. It benefits the users who understand the mechanics of augmented trading while severely penalizing those who just turn it on and walk away expecting free money.
Okay, so we've established the tech is immensely powerful, but surrounded by landmines. Systemic risks, algorithmic collusion, flash crashes, the autopilot effect. We need to bring this back down to earth for you, the listener. How do you actually use this tool in reality without getting wrecked?
The scientific conclusion of the source material is unequivocal. The real edge in 2026 is not letting the machine run wild. The edge is augmented intelligence.
The combination of human discipline and machine efficiency.
Think of modern chess. The best chess player in the world isn't a human. And surprisingly, it isn't a standalone computer program anymore either. The undisputed champion is a centaur, a human working in tandem with a computer.
Okay, it's a centaur.
Yeah, the computer calculates the millions of permutations and raw odds, while the human provides the overarching strategic intuition, context, and psychological gameplay that the machine lacks. Digital asset trading is becoming the exact same discipline.
So what does this all mean for you? If you were looking at that Binance AI Pro interface right now, what are the actionable steps to become a centaur? First, you start small. You do not hand over your life savings to a Quinn-backed bot on day one.
Absolutely not.
You use paper trading, simulated trading with fake money to test the logic, or you use absolute minimum capital amounts.
Second, you must diversify your strategies. Do not have one single AI agent managing your entire portfolio on one grid strategy. If that specific strategy encounters a flash crash, your entire net worth is exposed.
That makes paper trading essential. But even after you go live, you can't just walk away. The report stresses manually reviewing the AI's logs. You need to look at the historical trades it executed and ask, why did the router make this specific decision?
Yeah, you have to verify it.
If you don't understand the underlying logic the AI used to enter a position, you have no business running the bot.
Finally, you always combine the AI's output with your own personal analysis. This raises an important question, one that every listener needs to ask themselves before they even touch an AI tool. Is your current underlying trading strategy robust enough to be automated in the first place?
That is the harsh reality check. If your current strategy is just buying whatever token is trending on social media, an AI isn't going to make you a genius. It is just going to execute that flawed logic with terrifying efficiency. The AI is a multiplier. It multiplies whatever logic you feed it.
If you feed it garbage, you get automated, high-frequency garbage.
Let's recap this journey we've been on. We are looking at a landscape in 2026 where we have firmly moved from simple chatbots to multi-model autonomous agents, capable of executing complex, multi-step financial strategies through intelligent routing.
Yeah, it's a new world.
We know from the academic data, the LSTMs, the CNNs, the NBER studies, that these systems have a mathematically proven edge, especially in processing the nonlinear chaos of crypto markets.
But that mathematical edge comes chained to dangerous technical vulnerabilities, the psychological trap of the autopilot effect, and systemic market risks like algorithmic collusion.
Which means the only way to survive and thrive is through a human-in-the-loop approach. You have to be the centaur. This brings us to the powerful concluding thought from the source report, which perfectly encapsulates everything we've talked about today. AI doesn't replace the trader. It replaces the trader who doesn't use AI.
It highlights an evolutionary bottleneck in the market. Utilizing the tool is becoming mandatory to keep up with the speed of the market, but human oversight is what guarantees long-term survival.
That leaves us with one final, slightly terrifying, but endlessly fascinating thought to mull over. Let's go back to the scenario of you on the couch. You've set up your AI, it's executing trades perfectly. But remember, the retail trader next door is doing the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the massive institutional funds on Wall Street are deploying their own swarms of bots. We are entering an era where everyone is using these highly advanced, multi-model AI agents to execute their trades.
All of them optimizing, learning, and reacting to the same data sets.
And these agents are constantly using reinforcement learning to anticipate each other's moves. So the provocative question is this. If the entire market is made up of AIs trying to outsmart other AIs in milliseconds, Are we heading toward a future where human fundamentals, the actual intrinsic value of a company or a network, no longer drive prices at all?
That's the million-dollar question.
Are we all just sitting on our couches completely detached, watching algorithms battle each other in the dark?
It's a profound question about the future mechanics of value itself.
Something to think about the next time you tap that execute button. Keep your hands on the wheel, keep your eyes on the road, and whatever you do, don't fall asleep in the back seat.